So we have Senators Jessica Ramos and Alessandra Biaggi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the LCA for having us. It is truly an honor to be here with you tonight. You all put on quite a show. We'd ask how many of you it took to put it together, but it's not like you guys actually do the work. You just write about it the next day.
But in all seriousness, as a former flack, I truly have the utmost respect for the work of the press. Except for the Post. Fuck the Post. Sorry, Bernadette. Sorry. You were great tonight.
What? When we were asked to give the Democratic rebuttal tonight, we were honored, if not a little bit nervous, though, to take the mantle. After all, the folks who've participated in the LCA rebuttal in recent years haven't had the best track record. In 2018, one of the rebuttals featured Cynthia Nixon. In 2017, it was the IDC. We're beginning to worry that we're caught in a Final Destination reboot.
Before we continue, we'd like to make just a few acknowledgments. First and foremost, to my Republican colleagues in the room, you might notice that we're not going to talk about you that much tonight. That's simply because we like speaking truth to power. So in order to talk about you, you have to get a little power first.
Now, for those of you who don't know us, I'm Alessandra Biaggi.
And I'm Jessica Ramos. As a first-generation American, I know what it's like to make it on my own without the help of family connections. You know, this governor was born to another governor, and there's a word for that. Nepotism.
Whoa. Granddaughter of a congressman, and we love patriarchs named Mario.
Wow. I knew we should have rehearsed. Anyway, she's Alessandra, and I'm Jessica, but if you work for the governor, you might know us by another name. Fucking idiots. How we got here, shall we?
You mean how we took out the IDC?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we really need to thank the Independent Democratic Conference, or as we like to call it, the I'm Devoted to Cuomo Conference, or the little engine that couldn't.
As most of you know, we are 2 of the 6 challengers who successfully took down the IDC. It was no easy feat, what with our opponents pushing such rabble-rousing messages as things are fine just the way they are. And the status quo sounds good to me.
And 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 8 make a right wing.
And Jeff Klein and the Chamber of Secrets.
But to the shock and dismay of all, especially the New York Post editorial board, our group of legislators is here and we're ready to legislate.
And as freshman senators, we've learned a lot in our first 5 months in office, haven't we?
Absolutely. Like how everything in the city closes by 4 p.m. You can rent a 7-room estate in Albany for the cost of a studio in Riverdale. And the governor's convictions are as unmoving as Zach Fink's hair.
Though the learning curve has been steep, we've had some pretty staggering victories. In just a few months, at the helm of Andrea Stewart-Cousins, the new Senate Democratic majority has gone through a backlog of progressive legislation. We've passed voter reform, RHA, GENDA, a ban on conversion therapy, the DREAM Act, gun control, just to name a few.
Finally, a group of true blue progressives have taken over Albany and challenged the governor to step up to the $25,000 plate.
Not to mention, thanks to my roommate and colleague over here, during this session, our state held its first sexual harassment hearing in 27 years. how long Julia Salazar has been alive, or how long it feels Cuomo has been governor.
But we still think the governor is doing a good job, even though he thinks standing next to a famous woman counts as crafting a woman-friendly agenda.
Totally. It's pretty clear he identifies with women. A few months ago, he even threatened to bring the press up on Me Too charges, remember?
He's so vulnerable.
So vulnerable? And just last week, he referred to the gender and sexual orientation of the new TWA hotel at the JFK airport.
To me, Jess, that screams intersectionality.
But at the same time, he could use a little bit more discipline.
True. Yeah. Like last month when he penned a scathing opinion piece in one of the hardest hitting journalistic genres, the listicle.
In it, he asked us all kinds of tough questions like, how many Twitter followers is too many followers? And why isn't a retweet an endorsement?
Why is that, Jess? And when did we lose our sense of humor?
So, Governor, just make sure to remember this one when you're pouting about the show tonight.
Don't worry, Governor. While you're laboring over your listicle, we've got you covered on the legislating. As eye-opening as our first months in office have been, no feat has been as monumental, no uphill battle as steep as our collective rejection of the Senate chamber dress code.
It's true. Many of you know about Senator Lou's trailblazing tieless neck. Boyle has followed suit. But what many of you don't know is that on my first day on the job, I was almost denied access to the Senate floor for wearing my sneakers. Apparently, the Senate dislikes Converse as much as this course.
What with all the events we've been holding, my Rent the Runway account could use some of that undetermined capital funding.
But we still have a lot of work ahead of us. So tonight, we are going to give you a preview of what's ahead on the Democratic agenda. Grab those cigarettes, Jimmy Vielkind.
First, we must get Amazon to come back to New York. Just kidding, we're not going to do that.
No. Second, if you're in an elevator, alone with a stranger, you're not allowed to make conversation with them. And that includes you, lobbyists and anti-vaxxers.
Third, for every 15 minutes that your train is late, you're entitled to a full refund directly from the governor's pay increase.
And finally, making yourself more accessible to the press is a virtue, not a vice. Yes, even if it takes place in a hallway.
Well, this is the end of our bit, but just know, if things don't go our way, the remainder of the session, Dracarys.
Good night, everybody.
Let's give it up again for Alessandra Biaggi and Jessica Ramos. And one more time for Nick Langworthy, wherever he is.